Welcome back to the American Whiskey Show. Go ahead and hit the intro here. We're going to get started here. Of course, we had to do the, Star Spangled Banner because it's Inauguration Day. Welcome back to American Whiskey, the podcast where we take you deep into all kinds of crazy things. But today it's what shapes the nation. All while we enjoy a good pour. And I'm your host, Big Sturge. Alongside me is...
You always say the names.
Okay, and
Peanut.
at least one guy knows what we're doing here. And today we're kicking off a fascinating discussion about the presidential inauguration. So grab a whiskey, pour it mead or on the rocks, or grab a beer, grab something. Today we're gonna drink, and we're gonna have a good time doing it. We're having fun. What's up, Jasmine? He does rock. We couldn't agree more. Is that the one that was at the house over there?
Yep.
Blocker. Anyways, guys, we're glad you're here. Let's have some fun today. So, guys, we're doing a special episode today. We're not going to, who knows? We could possibly be live also tomorrow. Who knows? I mean, but to be honest, we felt like today was a good day to go live. And we're going to explore the history of this significant event today and what it means for this country and the traditions that have developed over the years. And we're going to touch on some of the recent history that's hard to kind of ignore, including the assassination attempts on Donald Trump during his campaign and how they've shaped the narrative, especially as he prepares to return. Actually, I mean, not just prepares, he's there now for the second term. So pour yourself a glass, sit back, and let's dive in. Now, first, I want to take, a step back in time. The first presidential inauguration took place April 30th of 1789 when George Washington took oath of office on Wall Street in New York City. Now, let's imagine that. A nation just finding its footing, just like a newborn baby or a baby trying to learn how to walk. We were so fresh, so new. And there's Washington, the man who would become, the definition of integrity and leadership, setting the precedent for all who would follow. Inauguration Day has evolved tremendously. Originally, it was celebrated on March 4th, and it wasn't until the 20th Amendment in 1933 that we shifted that date to January 20th, today. This change was made to minimize the time sitting president could remain in office after losing an election. A move to keep, things moving forward in the spirit of democracy. Now, traditions have always played a huge role in inaugurations, from the oath of the office, which is required by the Constitution, to the inaugural address, where the president lays out the vision. These elements have become the center of the event. We just watched it today. And let's not forget the one and only inaugurational ball. We've all heard of that. A celebration with glitz and glamour, and the moment for the new administration to connect to the public and celebrate the transition of power. But it's not just about the festivities. There's a deep symbolism in these traditions that reflects values of this great country that we live in today. And that's what it's all about. Now, let's pivot just for a moment in more recent history. During Donald Trump's campaign, he faced not one, but two assassination attempts. In my bloodstream, that chills it. The fact that an 81-year-old man, I think he is, 81 years old, can overcome those threats and is now preparing for the second term as he just did the inauguration, that speaks volume. It speaks resilience, not just for, his, but the resilience of the American spirit. The moment that they took a shot at him in Pennsylvania, and you saw the blood on his face, and you saw him stand up, and the Secret Service are trying to pull him out of there. What did he do? He raised his fist in the air, and he's 78 years old. Okay, 78. But raised his fist and says what? Anybody remember? Fight. Thank you, Levi. Thank you. Just got shot millimeters away from dying. And at that moment, he doesn't do what most of us would do, man. Shelter, right? And get us rushed off. He stands up.
Not just millimeters, but milliseconds.
No, I'm saying he's millimeters, the measurement. He was millimeters away from death.
But like millisecond earlier, he had his head turned fully.
Right. Shut up. Millimeters. Okay. The inaugurations are not just a ceremonial event. You know, the inauguration is actually a really pivotal moment in our democracy. And we forget that a lot, but it symbolizes the peaceful transition of power from Joe Biden and his people to Trump and his people. Each inauguration actually serves as a reminder of our nation's founding principles, which we have over the years forgot about. You know, the hope and the renewal. They reflect the will of the people, embodying the values that every single one of us, whether Democrat or Republican, hold dear to our hearts. Now let's talk about Donald Trump for a minute. We got to, right?
Exactly.
Today is his day.
It's
the American People's Day, where we get him in here in the office. His presidency has been unlike any other in modern history, marked by unprecedented events, challenges, controversies. And one of the most striking aspects of his narrative is the fact that he survived the assassinations during his campaign. He wasn't even president at the time, right? He was running for president, and they're trying to take his life. Imagine that for a moment. Being a target, just for a moment. Let's just picture doing something that you want to do, something for other people, something that you love, something that you're passionate about. You're putting everything that you have into it. Again, you said 78, right?
Yep.
He's 78 years old. Let's not forget, what do most people do when they're 78? Enjoy the rest of the time they have. They retire.
Yep.
So imagine that for just a moment. Being the target of such grave threats while striving to lead a nation. Really, it's a haunting reality.
I mean, that speaks volume for this man's character.
That underscores the immersed presence and challenges faced by those who seek the highest office. A lot of people try to do it. You know, we saw Joe Biden go at it first and Trump. But there's a whole list of people that try, a whole bunch of them that you don't even hear the names, but they do it. But yet, despite all of these attempts, Trump emerged not just unbroken, not just like an unbroken man, but poised to return for a second term. This is more than a personal victory. It's a testament to the resilience of the American spirit. And his journey encapsulates the very essence of what it means to be an American. Something that I'm proud of. That's why I created this podcast. I created this podcast initially, like not just for the whiskey part of things and the moonshine part of things, but first, America. It's not whiskey in America. It's America and whiskey. You know, his journey, again, is the very essence of what it means to be an American, facing adversity head on and preserving the odds. In many ways, Trump's story is kind of an symbolic, you know, to the nation that refuses to be defined by its challenges, but instead it rises from them, right? We rise. And that's why I'm so damn proud to be an American. We overcome. And the fact that he walks, talks, and prepares to take the oath of office again is significant. It speaks to a larger narrative within American history. The idea that democracy, while it is fragile, we all know that it is, it's also very robust and resilient. And each time an elected leader stands before the nation and takes their oath, they affirm not just their own commitment to lead, but the collective strength of the American people to endure and overcome. That's what happened. I stand by that. Endure and overcome. The resilience is crucial. In a world that threats to emerge from the shadows, the survival of the leaders and the contribution of our democratic process are paramount. Trump's ability to confront danger and still seek the presidency again reminds us of enduring nature and hope and determination. Whether you believe in Trump and his philosophy or his approach, you cannot take that away from him. You cannot take away the fact that he is doing this for the American people. He got shot. Millimeters, milliseconds, doesn't matter. It was right there and then that he could have had his brain on there instead of a piece of veneer. And we could have had a different moment.
And I know we've talked about it a lot. How many people would have called it quits?
Most, I would say most. So, and yeah, and he didn't. So again, it doesn't matter whether you like Trump or you don't. I stand by what I've written to talk about today. And if you don't agree, it's okay, but you have to understand that little part of it at least.
Just let me interrupt a minute, and it's just not, Trump that, goes through that and still fights. It's the whole Trump family. I mean, yeah, they could have very easily said, "Nah, you're done," but they're all behind him.
So and that's good. That's a good way of putting it. But as we reflect on this, I think let's consider the broader implications of the political, landscape. Inaugurations remind us that change is consistent. Okay, change is consistent, and it's okay. But so is our resolve as a nation. Each ceremony, is a moment to celebrate democracy and the ideals and that bind us together as Americans. So whether you're raising a glass in celebration or not, let's appreciate the resilience of our nation and the traditions that bind us together, because it seems to me that over the last, 10 years, we're losing sight of what it is to be an American, what it is. We don't have to hate. We don't have to burn cities down. You may hate Donald Trump, but today, an inauguration day, isn't about your views or necessarily what you believe. It's just coming together as a nation as we go on to the next chapter. And you know what? Whether you like him or you don't like him, whoever it is, Joe, whatever, we want all the same. We want freedoms. We want love. We want borders. We want strength. We want to be able to go to bed at night and feel safe.
Right, Sturge. And like you keep hitting here, whether you like him or hate him, how hard is it to wake up tomorrow and be nice to your neighbor? That has nothing to do with who's president for you to be a good person.
And, in my eyes, it's beyond all it is. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than beliefs. It's bigger than who's right and who's wrong. Today has been going on for so long. This day, okay, when Joe took office, I see your comment, Donnie, but still today, it's about the American process, where a lot of countries, they don't get to do this, man. They just sit in the fucking office and they just keep going another term, even though they supposedly are voting. Putin's never leaving office. Nobody's vote matters, but it does here.
Not until he's gone.
But from the moment that, Trump announced his candidacy. That was in 2015. Trump captured the attention of the nation. Most people said there's not a chance in hell, right? Not a chance in hell. His unfiltered style and the bold promises resonated with millions of Americans. You guys remember that coming down that Escalade, right?
Yeah.
Americans were looking for change. They have been for a long while. But today we're going to look a little bit closer to those campaign promises and evaluate some of the achievements from the first term, but again, also keeping accountable of what those promises are so we know what is Trump promising, and is he going to be, holding up those promises? Because that's big. That's big. So let's start with some of those key promises that defined his campaign. One of the standout pledges was that he was going to, reamp the American economy. And Trump focused on bringing jobs back in the U.S., particularly in manufacturing. You just heard it in his speech. Bring jobs back, manufacturing. You heard it, car manufacturers.
Well, so Biden kind of put a slowdown on it, but how many jobs in Ohio has been created that Trump started?
Yep.
And it's close to here. It's right outside Washington Courthouse.
Right. And let's talk about the numbers. You said how many? Let's talk about numbers. I'm a big numbers guy. But during his first term, we saw record low unemployment rates. That's not, you hear a lot of people, that's not true. That's not true. That's a fucking fact. So you can go look it up. I'm not going to argue with people that say that's not true. It is true. But particularly for the, Hispanics and, immigrants, the economy, experienced substantial growth. And with the stock markets, you guys remember, it was like every day we woke up, it was hitting historic rates. You guys remember, it's like you turn on the news, better. But for many, this was just a clear sign that his policies were actually working. Now, the other crucial promise was the tax cuts for the middle class, right? We're sitting in I wouldn't say middle class, but you know what I mean. I think it was the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That's what in 2017, before COVID hit, was a significant piece of the legislation that aims to stimulate the economy by providing a tax relief to individuals and especially businesses, small businesses, but many Americans reported seeing many of their paychecks having more money in it. Like you remember it. Like, dude, I'm making, it's sad to say, but I'm not making much more money than 2017. It's just not been good years, but I had a lot of bologna and milk in my fridge at that time. I felt like we were doing a lot better then. And, businesses felt encouraged, right? Whether you worked at the railroad or whether you were a school teacher, but, or whatever it is that you did, you had businesses that wanted to invest and expand and get bigger and better and give their employees, something to be proud of. Right now, we're not seeing that. It's pretty sad that I'm pretty much making the same amount of money I was in 2017, and we're barely making it right now. When eggs, you could get 18 eggs at Kroger's, I think it was 79 cents on sale. Now they're above $4.
Right.
But nobody's making any more money. Do the math. It's called inflation, but you're not giving me any more money. But let's not forget about one of the biggest things in my eyes is national security. Trump made it a top priority to strengthen the military, advocated for increased funding, modernization. Sorry. His administration worked extremely hard to ensure that armed forces were well equipped and ready to defend our nation. We talk about this all the time. We've got, Levi's helping producing a podcast. He's over here in the yonder here, next over on my left. He's going in the military. That's super important to Peanut, his dad. That's super important to us. We got Dylan. Got talking here, yeah.
Dylan.
Yep.
It's ex-military. Very well. I shouldn't say ex. Once a Marine, always a Marine. But
he knows what you mean.
Their health care, their benefits, is extremely important to us because they gave, they're making that ultimate sacrifice for it. Man.
They are. And even if you've never seen, I've known people that were in the military for 12 years, never saw action. and that doesn't make a difference. The point is they're putting their life on a piece of paper that's giving them the opportunity to go somewhere and do something with them for themselves, but also do something for us.
That
which is possibly lose their life fighting for us.
they're putting their life on the line for. I mean, let's be real, basically pennies.
It is. I looked up how much money where the unknown soldier is at. The guy that's there and barely moves, and like when he walks, I don't know what you call that, but it's like very direct.
He's standing guard.
They make like 17 grand a year.
Yeah.
Do you know if it's literally? I already looked it up.
And
You're more than welcome to go look it up. But that's not good.
That's one of the hardest things to be able to do.
If it's lightning and storming and it doesn't matter. No, a soldier is not left.
They're there.
They're always there at all times.
In their tip top.
It just to me, 17 grand a year. And like I said, Dylan, it seemed like maybe you didn't agree with that. That's just what I found. I think the top guy that was there was making 23 grand a year. So
it's based on your rank. They're making a little more than that, but not a lot.
Looked up there's only a certain, I think it was only one rank that went into that was able to do that.
But what I'm saying is each rank has a certain pay.
I don't give a fuck. 17 grand is not enough money. 21 grand is not enough money
for anybody in the armed service.
Huh? Google it. I'm not gonna
regardless
argue about
no matter what the number is, then boys do not get paid enough.
No, not even close. Now let's talk about something that's also big in the United States, which is the immigration stance. We heard about it today. The prioritizing border security and the construction of the border wall. He hit on it today when he was speaking. For many of his supporters, this is about enforcing the laws, maintaining national security. And it's, resonated with those who felt immigration policies needed reformed. I think it's a lot of us, but, there's so many other topics that he promised. We could talk about foreign policy. Trump's administration brokered the historic agreements with the Middle East, including Abraham Accords, which pretty much normalized relations between Israel and several of the Arab nations. This was a significant step towards peace in the regions, long plagued by since the biblical days. Conflict, right? Yeah. His America First approach aimed to prioritize Americans' investments to, trade agreements, leading to, renegotiating deals, kind of like the USMCA or the NAFTA deal. Many people viewed this as a win for the American workers, ensuring that the fairer trade, practices, and let's reflect on some of the achievements that were made. It's important to recognize Trump's first term, whether you liked him or you didn't. You got to recognize these things. He was marked by, a commitment to fulfilling his campaign promises. His supporters often, point to these, successes as evidence of the effectiveness of him being a leader. Whether you agree or not, it doesn't make a difference. Did he hold his promises? And he did. A lot of those things have been rolled back since the other administration come back, but they're going to be rolled back again. Okay. But of course, no presidency comes without a challenge, and that comes for Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter. Trump faced significant opposition and controversy, yet maintaining a loyal base that appreciate. A lot of people love the fact that he was so direct. He has a very, very direct approach, and his willingness to challenge the status quo. The status freaking quo, guys.
And a lot of people, dislike him because of his direct, non-sensitive way. But look at how many conflicts that kept the U.S. out of. I mean, countries respect him because what he says, he does.
Well, let's see what happens about this administration. Let's see if he can get us out, because we're in a few. Yeah. And in a time where many felt, taken back by some of these, policies, Trump's candidacy represented a voice for those who wanted a different direction for their country. a voice that resonated, deeply with millions of Americans. Again, Americans, not the world, but Americans. He didn't take office to please the whole entire world.
And like he said,
He's here to
make
take care of
America
us.
first.
Exactly. So we look ahead of his, this potential get back at the White House. Let's remember the promises he's made, the accomplishments that defined his first term. Whether you agree with his methods or you don't, there's no denying that Trump has left, a mark on the American politics. And as we, always do, we're going to raise a glass. And tonight we're going to do a little bit of sipping on a few different things. But one of the things we're doing today is freedom. But,
I'm letting her out. She's pacing.
well, when Dylan gets back, we're going to have a little drink of this. But we're going to raise a glass to the resilience of our nation and ongoing conversations about the future. And that's what it's all about. I know this was a pretty abnormal thing, but this is something, when I started American Whiskey, this is something that I really loved. Was just the government process and just talking about differences. And no matter what, we've heard some shitty things over the last, 48 hours about comments that have been made and stuff like that. But what I will tell you, we, and I can speak for us because I know I can. I created this podcast. I know that our views are similar. They differ at times, but that doesn't make a difference. But what I will say is I don't care. We don't care if you are a Democrat or if you are a Republican, whether you're Black, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. We love you guys. We love the support that you guys have brought to this table. And, when I was up until 4 a.m. last night writing this, I finished it last night at 4 a.m. I really wanted to just hit the history of the inauguration day. I'm trying to tell my kids about it. This is something to be proud of. And it doesn't make a difference what your beliefs are. We love you. It doesn't make a difference to us. What we love is the fact of the freedom and what America means to us. And what, I've talked about, I never meant for this podcast to be about moonshine or whiskey. It was just a title. And we've learned a lot through the moonshine world and how America was founded and all these different things. But today is what America is all about. Today is when America speaks.
And that's the great thing about America. We can agree to disagree, but no matter if we agree to disagree, whatever, we're all in it for the same cause, and that's for America.
That's it. So obviously, you guys didn't get a lot to say right there. I just wanted to get through what I wrote up, and I want anybody in here to have something to say on the comments. But, like I said, I don't want to get past anything other than the fact that it doesn't matter. If you're a Joe Biden fan, we love you. Trumper, we love you. But this is just some of the values that we hold together as a group. And hopefully, if you don't like Trump, he does something good, and it shows you. But yeah, go ahead, boys. And by the way, here's
what are you sipping on?
So this is one of my favorite bottles. I actually have the 9/11 edition. It was bottled on 9/11. It's Have a Shot of Freedom Whiskey Company. It's 111 proof, small batch cask strength bourbon. It's distilled and bottled by Hazoff Whiskey Company, Springs Valley, California. But I want to read the back of it. And each one of them come with a dog tag with the date that it was made. And this one says, bottled for the American Heroes Let Freedom Ring, batch 40, 4th of July, 2021. The back of it says, to those who have served in far foreign lands, raise your glass to the heavens with hardened hands. And for those who fought for freedom, never to return, we sip this whiskey for you, embracing this slow, warm burn for when the morning sun breaks. As we rise from our beds, let us not forget the tree of liberty is watered with sweat, blood, and lead until we meet again in the halls of Allah. You can check them out at Freedom. Have
Have a
Have a
shot of freedom.
freedom.com. Yep. Have a shot of freedom.com. And this bottle is not easy to go down like it says they mean for this to burn. And I like that.
It's a reminder.
So this is to all our fallen soldiers that didn't make it home. And, cheers to you guys.
And Peanut and I over here are drinking America Made. It's called the Senator. It's from Proof and Wood, made in Indiana. It was bottled in Bardstown, Kentucky. It is a barrel proof straight rye whiskey.
It's good too. It's a good. I'm gonna have it here in a minute after I'm done with this one. After I'm done burning.
Just
my
so everybody
esophagus
know,
with this.
I asked for a little shot, and I got like a quad shot here.
Cheers, brothers.
Cheers.
Love you guys.
I'm trying to help you sleep.
Thank you for your service, Dylan.
Donald's got the watch now.
Why'd you? He took the whole thing.
That's really smooth.
You see the
I
proof?
was getting ready to make a face.
So I don't know if everybody's been in here the whole time,
Super smooth.
but I wrote up a script for today's episode. Someone just messaged me like, "Damn, dude, it sounds like you're giving a speech." I didn't mean for that, but
You're in the principal's office.
that's just the passion that I have for this country.
Exactly.
How can I write a script about this country and not be excited, not be passionate? And I thought, I thought, what a better day to do it than today.
I mean, we're living in the greatest country on earth.
A lot of people disagree, but I do not.
I don't.
I think we're far from it, but there's people in place trying to get us there.
Well, you talk to people that's been to other countries and this and that. And I'm sure, like yourself, you moved around some and seen some different places. And there's places you can go in the world that if we talk like what we just did today, we'd,
right. I mean,
whack
that's
that.
what I'm saying. There's people in place working to get it to where it needs to be, but there's still so much that needs changed.
Yep.
When you're bringing in illegal immigrants and giving them housing over having homeless veterans, that's a huge problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't say you're a great nation when that's going on.
Our like we just touched on, what our veterans and our military members do for the little amount of pay. The least that us American people can do is make sure they are provided for in every way. The least that we can do.
And now there is room for immigration, obviously, but there's a process, and it's just like anything else in the United States. You can't be 16 and just get your license. You can't just be, you can't just, drive a car without a license. There's a lot of things. You can't go into certain buildings without an ID. You can't, vote without certain things falling in place. And there's nothing, I just got a really fucked up message on Facebook. So, to me, you're fucking coward for that message. But we have nothing against immigration. I have no issues with, I have, many people in my life that I care about that are not from this country, that are Americans.
My great grandmother came over on the ship in
they're
1900.
We can say that for a lot of people because that's who created America.
Right, 90%.
So my point of what I was talking about earlier is we're strengthening the border, and there's a process. You can't just let anybody in. You have to be vetted. You have to, you see these things where, it was just a couple weeks ago, a girl from New York or something was kidnapped, raped, murdered by an illegal immigrant. And it's not like they just got here and were like, oh, she's hot, I'm going to do it. No, he had a background in Mexico.
Well, wasn't it also an apartment complex that got taken over by illegal immigrants
in Colorado?
And they were armed tooth and nail.
It
was MS-13.
Yeah.
But not just that. I mean, everybody said, well, there's only a small number of criminals coming across.
No, there's not.
I mean, even criminal or not, I mean, we had it right here in our hometown. You get flooded by so many, the cost of everything rises so much, but
Well,
your paychecks aren't rising.
I challenge this jackass that just messaged me on my page to go back. And you know something, I'm not, first off, clearly you're listening. So if you have a problem, buzz out. But, you know, go back and listen to what I said. Not at any point did I say that I had a problem with immigrants. First off, I was talking about Donald Trump's goals and his achievements from the first go around. Okay. If you have a problem with me stating those things, like go to CNN.com and watch what they're putting out, because I'm not, you know, honestly, kind of hurtful. That was a fucked up message, but it's not like, I want to make sure that people know. I mean, if you know me, I don't feel like I need to like protect myself at the second.
No,
like,
you don't need to protect. You know, there's a lot of immigrants that, you know, come over and go through the process like they're supposed to. That provides a lot of knowledge in that to America. You know, some of these immigrants come over, they're doctors.
It wasn't a comment, it was a personal
engineers.
message. Yeah, you're right. But
they went through the process. All we're saying is the process.
There's a guy at my job that can't speak English, and his name's Hector. He's cool as hell.
But the hardest working dude you ever seen.
Dude, well, listen, check this out. He can't speak English. He speaks through his phone.
Yeah.
Dude, we have like full out conversations. But he calls me Gordo, and I didn't know what that meant. So I went back and like looked it up. That means big. So he this is what he calls me now. He calls me Little Gordo. And I was like, why he call me that? He's like, because you're getting, you know, I'm getting little now. And he literally wore a Trump shirt where his fist is up and the blood's on the ear, and it says freedom in like Spanish.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And so I said something to him, and he was like, dude, I worked my ass off to become a citizens of here.
He doesn't want people getting a free ride.
And that dude,
you know, a lot of these immigrants that came over legally and this and that, they are the most patriotic. They're more patriotic than most Americans.
well,
So we've talked about that before, and it's because I would put somebody that goes through those tests in the process to get citizenship and to become an American. They know more than 99.9% of Americans about this country.
Yeah, because they got more history than what we learned.
you know what I love too? It's like the one thing he said was about, what about a mom with 3 kids coming trying to leave, you know, the cartel or whatever it is. Dude, there's a right way to do it. You know what I'm saying?
You can get asylum.
She can get asylum. She can get help. She can go, like, you know, not everybody's bad. And to be honest with you, I know multiple people that your girlfriend lived over in a different country. She's fine.
Ex-girlfriend.
That's what whatever.
I thought you guys were back.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not playing that game. I'm just saying, am I wrong? I asked you the other day if it's a great country. You said not really, but they're doing okay. They do well. I know people from Mexico. Some parts aren't great, but they're doing okay. People go there. Dude, who the fuck do you think owns these elaborate vacation places that people go to? The cartel.
The cartels.
I mean, that's just it. I mean, everybody wants to complain about the border wall. We're not stopping people coming over. With the walls, not stopping anybody from coming over, trying to improve their lives.
Right, exactly.
It is stopping the cartel. You ask anybody down along,
or it's not just stopping the cartel. It's stopping people from breaking the law and coming in illegal. You have to be documented. You have to pay your dues. And you know what? A lot of people are doing it. It's not fun. It's not fair. He even told me this. It took like 35 minutes to get his conversation, my conversation. I'd respond on the phone. What it was he had it on Spanish trying to translate to English, but I was trying to do English to Spanish, so it's fucking up our conversation.
Yeah,
and it took like a week for us to realize you had to switch it back to the other way. And he like, what are you hating on him?
No,
he told me, he's like, there's people that have to. So he works with people that have to go back for a few months, and then they can come back. Work again. Work visa. That's what it was.
You know,
and that's what he used to.
Yeah, because they have to prove that they're not just coming here to live.
Well, I can tell you, it's several
Yeah.
In
The
the line of work,
actually work.
Yeah.
the line of work I do, a lot of them come over with work visas.
And they work their asses off.
They work their asses off, but all that money goes back to their family.
Right, exactly.
And everybody complains about this, wanting to secure the border, build the border wall, and this and that. One, you're stopping the cartel from coming in. Two, the cartel is taking major advantage of these people just wanting to make their lives better. I mean, a lot of them come over, they pay X amount up front, they get in America, and guess what? Oh, no, you owe us this much more. Oh, you don't have it? Guess what? You're into sex trade gang.
That's
you're
right.
in a mule gang.
How many of them die on the way
You're
over?
right.
Like,
You're
and they don't
right.
care about.
You're right, Phil. I think,
So the border wall is actually, everybody, this is America, y'all can have your opinion, is a good thing, in my opinion, because people can take the steps, don't have to pay the cartel to
You're
get
right.
over here and get screwed.
and I think that's a good topic to bring up too about, immigration in general. Like a lot of these people that are coming in stuffed in box trucks that, they're hiding and stuff. They get here. You're coming to America. Well, I got you. Guess what? You got to pay it off. And a lot of this stuff is, and this is what's dirty and nasty about America and the government. What was the guy that got hung in a cell? Jeffrey Epstein. You look at, like, he was holding all those parties. A lot of those guys were government officials, but those people are coming from other countries, and they're little kids, even women, and well, you want to come over here? Well, now you have to sell yourself for sex, or make us money for sex, or
Exactly.
child porn, or whatever it is, and that's fucking fuck, dude. Listen.
It's not just that; it's the risks these people are taking. I drove trucks over the road under my own authority.
Yeah.
For several years. I'm, one of the very few Americans been to Brownsville, Texas.
Yeah.
Right on the line. And, I've seen people hiding in sewer pipes.
Yeah.
On back of semi-trailers.
Yeah.
Just to get out.
Right.
They're doing is they're trying to make a better life.
Well, you see Gordon's, he says, hey, illegals, illegals are basically in slavery due to the wages they make. Look at farm workers. I do want to hit on that.
Exactly.
But those shitty wages are really good back from where they're come from. But you are right, Shiner Man. They should be making a good living, a comfortable living, where they can send money back home and have money here for themselves, right?
Exactly. I mean,
this isn't just, you're not trying to take away anything from the music.
Shiner Man hit it nail on the head. They're right here in our hometown. Yeah, we have an overflow of immigrants. It's not their fault.
Right.
The government brought in too much at once, but the reason we have the overflow of immigrants is a lot of these staffing agencies and that, are paying them pennies on the dollar,
right,
to do this work, which is absolutely,
you're doing my job
wrong.
I make pretty decent money, but if to do my job inside of a staffing agency, they're going to get paid $12-13 an hour.
Yeah, minimum
That,
wage.
and, what a lot of them staffing
That's
agencies,
fucked up.
what you're talking like 30, 60, 90 days or whatever, then the company has an option of hiring you out or whatever.
Yep.
They just switch them out.
That's right.
We got one big company in Springfield that's doing it left and right.
I think Peanut, both of you boys, I think you hit, I was trying to defend myself there for me. I don't have to.
No, you don't.
But I think you guys hit it on the coffin. It's like, you have to have some type of law and order to be successful. You can't just let people just do their thing. There's prison for a reason, right? There's laws for a reason. There's punishment for a reason. There's all these things so we can keep people that love each other, that are neighbors. Listen, I've had neighbors I didn't like, but I'd still help them out. Yeah. I've had coworkers I didn't like, but I'd still help them out.
And that's the big thing with our area right now. I mean, we made national TV and this and that.
Yeah. Hey, American Whiskey actually hit national television.
Hell yeah, we did.
Me, Doug, and Dylan actually made the news.
Good deal. Well, these really cool. these
It's cool as
you know,
hell.
we all hate on the Haitians.
No, I don't.
Well,
My favorite driver.
majority of this areas are hating on the Haitians, but it is not their fault that our government swamped our area with so many that
what's actually
the
interesting
prices
about that
raised
though?
and this and that. They're just here to make a living, get a
No,
get a
this
good
is
life.
what happened was the media swamped us. The Clark County, Springfield area. I mean, swamped it. Trying to find people eating kitties and doggies and donkeys and all this shit.
And ducks.
Dude, that's the only thing we're known for. We went to Tennessee to drop off toys for little kids and families that didn't have fucking Christmas. What did the guy at that store say? Where are you from? Springfield, Ohio. Is that where they're eating dogs?
Yeah.
You're fucking dumb.
Yeah.
You're fucking dumb, dude.
We had their dogs ate.
But I don't know. We can talk about that another time. I'm not going to bring it up today. We're talking about the inauguration.
Well, that's what
regardless,
happens when TikTok is taken over and
Yeah.
that's our
floods
media.
everything.
Like we say on every Friday, media influences a lot.
I heard Levi cried when TikTok didn't work for 12 hours.
But I will
He
tell you
did.
this,
He was in the
though.
corner
I do
position.
want to shout out. We see it right here, Burnout Winery. We love those guys. We got to have a little bit of fun with them the other day. Bottling up some wine. How many bottles? Over 500.
Over 500.
Yeah.
Over 500 bottles.
But guess what? I'm 2 bottles in already.
We can tell, and we're having a good time. So I'm just messing with you, buddy. But guys, we're gonna get off. We'll probably hop on here later. We got some work to do. So, guys, we love you. We appreciate you. I got one bad feedback off of what went on today. So
Fuck 'em.
I got one bad feedback right here. Jen's got to go back to work.
See you, Jen.
How's
That's
that
right,
bad
baby. Make
feedback?
that dollar. Huh?
Adios, baby.
Make that dollar.
We definitely need it.
And I got to shout out Jazz for Peanut Rocks.
We got some money that needs to come out of our account soon.
Yeah, we got.
We haven't done well on our account yet. We're working on it.
We're men that like to have a good time.
I was like, how much money do we have in our account, Peanut? He's like, $0.00. I was like, oh shit.
We're like, you know what? We'll get it built back
We'll
up.
figure
Give
it
us a
out.
minute or 2.
We ain't even worried about it.
Nah.
So guys, we love you. As always, I'm Big Sturge.
I'm Justice League.
And I'm the Peanut.
And we are
American
American
whiskey.
Whiskey. Oh, wait.